Hello YouTube, welcome back to Brunger Builds. Today, I'll be building not one, but two Imperial Remnant helmets from the new movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu. I built these helmets using both paid and free files that I will link in the description below. Originally, I planned to just build the ATRT driver since I already had Galactic Armory's Shoretrooper files on hand. But, just as those files had finished printing, BTM Props dropped his Remnant Snowtrooper files, and I figured I might as well go all out and build both. The one thing I did modify on the Snowtrooper was the round nose Greeblies. I wanted a bit more internal depth than the original pieces had, but because I also know next to nothing about 3D modeling, I mashed together 3 separate Thingiverse files in Blender. These Greeblies are obviously not screen accurate, but they added just the right amount of detail that I was looking for. Speaking of Greeblies, as I started this build, there was no good images of the screen-used ATRT driver's helmet. So, to see if I could learn anything I didn't already know, I bought the Black Series figure. It was here that I discovered that unlike the clean back of the Shoretrooper variant, this helmet had a boxy Greebly on the back right side. I had a strange feeling I had seen this exact Greebly before, and after a bit of digging online, I found a Thingiverse file and realized why it had looked so familiar. Turns out, this exact Greebly had been used for the hat light that Jyn Erso wears on Edu in Rogue One, and it just so happens that my son has this exact figure. Now, that wasn't the only revelation I had. Apparently, I'm not as knowledgeable about Star Wars as I had thought, because I had not realized that the walkers in Rogue One were called AT-ACTs, not AT-ATs. And in a blink-and-you'll-miss-it scene, the AT-ACT pilots can be seen with the same boxy Greebly on the right side of their helmets. A small rectangle Greebly can also be seen on the left side, but we'll talk about that later. Before you begin sanding, it's always a good idea to wear a mask, because you do not want all this junk in your lungs. I'm also always running a homemade dust collector to keep the dust to a minimum. When it comes to resin, I typically start out with 400 grit sandpaper, and this is usually all I need. For support areas, I might start off with 120 or 220 grit to clean up the roughest spots. I'll also use files or chisels if needed. I usually print my resin parts at a 0.5mm layer height, which means the sanding needed tends to be pretty minimal. Here, you can see a comparison between a sanded and unsanded piece. Both of these helmets required quite a bit of cleanup on the filament prints before I could begin the filling and priming process. It's pretty normal for the lower areas of a print to be a little rough, and I tend to just use whatever tool works best for the spot I'm taking care of. 80 grit sandpaper for the dome, a large flat file for the flat areas, smaller files where needed, and a pick for cleaning out the tiniest nooks and crannies. The ATRT driver needed lots of attention before filling. It's made from several pieces that need to fit tightly together, so I spent lots of time getting all the connection points extra clean. I have a feeling that some parts are intended to be assembled after primer and paint, but I was on a time crunch and decided just to go for it. The only piece I left apart was the blast shield. When I finally began assembly, I used copious amounts of CA glue and 5-minute epoxy to hold it all together. I also used my plastic welder to secure the front faceplate to the mandibles. Alright, my preferred filler of choice is DAP Plastic Wood X. Lots of people use Bondo, but I prefer to use this because it's a bit less toxic. I still always use a mask when I sand, but it's nice to know that I don't have to worry as much about it floating around my garage. Now, if I'm being honest, sanding is pretty much the worst part of every project. But without it, your props will never attain the perfect smoothness that you desire. Sanding is inevitable. Many a brave soul has stared into its dusty abyss and been found wanting. I find it's best to accept your fate early on. Do whatever it takes to enter a state of zen. You might imagine you're on a school retreat.
We used to come here for school retreat.
Swimming to an island.
We would swim to that island every day.
You love the water.
I love the water.
You're lying on the sand to let the sun dry you.
We used to lie out on the sand and let the sun dry us,
You're trying to guess the names of the birds singing.
and try to guess the names of the birds singing.
I don't like sand. I don't like sand. It's coarse, rough, and irritating. It gets everywhere.
With the sanding finished, I started priming. But I realized that this little round detail on the ATRT driver helmet was not as pronounced as I would like it to be. So to fix that, I broke out my hot plate and a piece of brass tubing I had on hand, and used the heated tubing to melt a deeper indent into the filament. I was careful not to go too deep though. I'll spare you the boring details and just say that once the filler primer was dry, I wet sanded it with 400 grit before moving on to paint. For paint, I used Krylon's Fusion All-in-One Satin White. I've tried a lot of white paints, and so far this is the one that has given me the least amount of issues. They also recently changed their spray nozzle, so the paint came out in much nicer, even coats. Alright, every Greebly got shot with a base coat of Rust-Oleum Satin Black. For the round nose Greeblies, I used All-Clad's polished aluminum with a protective layer of their Aquagloss Clear over top. Because I had sprayed it over satin black instead of gloss, the end result was not nearly as shiny as it could be, but it was perfect for the look I was going for. Everything else got a light, sporadic dry brushing of Vallejo's Gunmetal Gray, and then I followed that up with a random dabbing of Duraluminum on the highest points. Before I painted the lower section of the Snowtrooper's face, I applied Vallejo's Liquid Mask. I felt like I overdid this step a bit, so I went back over it to remove some of the dried masking fluid. I initially used Vallejo's Blue Gray Pale, but it was way too light, so I went back over it with Dark Gray Blue instead. I don't really have a good place to put this in the video, so I figured I'd just drop it here. I was flipping through the book, The Concept Art of Ralph McQuarrie, and came across this sketch, which I'm almost positive has to be the inspiration for this new design addition to the Snowtrooper's helmet. That's it. I just really like learning about the history of Star Wars designs, and thought I'd share. I also shot the nose section and chin with black. And while I was at it, I shot the rim of the ATRT blast shield. I also filled in all the black indents on the driver's helmet using a precision needle tip bottle, and it made getting paint into these tiny areas a lot easier. I also masked and painted the forehead stripes. By that time, the Snowtrooper was dry, and I could safely remove the liquid mask. I also did a little bit of weathering on the gray section using 600 grit sandpaper. After this step, I still felt like I had slightly overdone it with the chipping, so I stippled over some of the larger chipped areas with dark gray paint, and then off camera, redid my sandpaper weathering. Once my ATRT Greeblies were dry, I installed them around the helmet. Remember that little rectangle Greebly I mentioned at the beginning of the video? Well, right up to this point, I still didn't know if I should install it or not. I had gathered together a handful of pictures of the various driver figures that had been released, but that did not help clarify things. So, just for fun, I put it to a vote over on Instagram, and the Add It constituency won by a landslide. Needless to say, I'll be keeping an eye out for this Greebly when I see the film in theaters in a few days. The next thing I did was cut out the visors. For the Snowtrooper, I used this dark green welding visor and heated and bent the pieces into place. For the ATRT driver, I applied some black window tint that I had on hand. I like to use HVAC tape to secure my visors inside my helmets because it is extremely sticky and very flexible. Last thing I did on the driver helmet was install the blast shield. Then I glued on the Snowtrooper nose and cheek vents. This model comes with screw holes for installing the face into the dome, but since this will just be sitting on my shelf, I only used CA glue to secure it in place. And then it was on to weathering. Before the wash, I did some random chipping and scratching on both helmets using an X-Acto knife, small file, and sandpaper. These chips and scratches will hold a little more of the wash and help add texture and depth to the overall weathering. For my wash, I always use the cheapest acrylics that I can find. I usually do an oily brown wash, but this time around I went a little lighter. The trick I've found with doing acrylic washes is to move fast. Work in sections and remove most of the wash before it has time to set and stain the white paint. Repeat this process as much as you need to get your desired effect. How dark or how light you go is totally up to you. After the wash was dry, I moved on to my favorite technique for weathering, pastel chalk. I mixed some black and brown chalk powder with matte Mod Podge and went to town. This technique is nice because it's extremely flexible. If you want a thick, chunky texture, you can build it up easily. If you want a thinner, dusty layer, just add water to the Mod Podge to thin it out. I also find it best to work quickly on this step, since the Mod Podge has a tendency to dry quickly. It's easily pulled away with a wet rag, but working quickly in sections ensures that you get the mixture exactly where you want it. As an afterthought, I used some of this window screen, folded it up into layers, and taped it behind the cheek vents. I then used some black tape as a backing to hide any light spill. And then these babies were ready for their glamour shots. If you made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching. This project was pretty straightforward, and it was a fun challenge to bust out 2 helmets for one video. If you'd like to see more from me, make sure to subscribe. Going forward, my uploads will be few and far between, but I hope to still be able to put out a project here or there. Thanks for taking the time. I hope you learned something, or were inspired to work on your own projects. Have a good day.